This is gonna take crackerjack timing, Wang.
Total concentration. You ready, Jack?
I was born ready.
Several months back, I don't know, maybe like 9-10 months ago, maybe it was a year ago, Robert Venditti was the new writer on Justice League. I think a lot of people were excited, and what he did with Justice League as far as like the Eradicator story and stuff it was pretty fun, but it was a very abbreviated run. And when Venditti left, he said he was taking his dream project and he just couldn't maintain writing Justice League with his Hawkman duties as well as adding a third title. And it got a lot of people speculating, what could Robert Venditti's dream project be? I think most people kind of have been expecting it to be a JSA series. That essentially has been teased since the relaunch of DC Rebirth. We saw the JSA in Robert Venditti's Hawkman, and so it felt like a kind of a natural fit. But of course, he said it was his dream project. Now, I don't know Robert Venditti personally. He never came out and I've never seen him say that JSA was his dream project. And it turns out, or at least it appears it turns out, that is not his dream project. It is actually Superman from the like Christopher Reeve's era Superman, like from the movies. Because he is going to be the new writer of a Superman 78 comic series. There's also going to be a Batman 89 series with the co-writer from the Tim Burton movies, Batman and Batman Returns. So DC is going to be leaning into nostalgia to sell some comic books coming up. These are going to be DC digital first series. It appears DC is doing some weird stuff with their digital. I'm not going to really get into that in depth here today. I do plan on talking to Perch about that tomorrow. And so hopefully we'll be able to talk about that and some other things that are going on with comic books. But in the here and now, we have Superman 78. We've got Batman 89, promising to give readers nostalgia. We do have the time periods that are going to take place. We have some character designs from the Batman stuff. We don't really have that from Superman yet. Now, before I get into the details of these two new series and some of my thoughts on just the movies and the creative teams they've chosen, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to Thinking Critical YouTube. Hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Either way, I want to hear your thoughts. Are you excited for some DC movie nostalgia coming your way in Superman 78 and Batman 89? This isn't DC's first foray into nostalgia-based comic books based on their characters and other mediums. Not too long ago, we had Batman 66, which was based on the old Batman series that everyone knows and loves. And we also had Wonder Woman 77 that was obviously based on the Linda Carter Wonder Woman series. That is certainly iconic as well. So now we're getting Superman 78, which is going to take place in between, I guess, the time frame of Superman the movie and Superman 2. Now, me personally, this is just my personal opinion. I know people aren't going to like this. I'm not a big fan of Superman the movie. I really like Christopher Reeve as Superman. I think Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor and all that. The casting was really good. But I didn't love that movie. But I absolutely adore Superman 2. It feels like, with the time frame of this, we'll probably likely getting more stuff that feels like Superman 2. He's already going to be an established superhero. We aren't going to be getting so much of Clark Kent, on the farm in Smallville. It'll be mostly him in Metropolis, likely saving the day and making sure that Lois Lane isn't in over her head. The writer is going to be Robert Venditti, my personal favorite writer. So this is a must-buy, in my opinion. Artist is Wilfedo Torres. And this is the information that we have. In Superman 78, bystanders are surprised and delighted by Superman's abilities, and Lois Lane doesn't yet know that Clark Kent is secretly Superman. The sheer thrill of seeing a man fly, leap, or stop a bullet will be reflected in this environment where Superman has just been introduced, inspired by Donner's classic, timeless style of superhero storytelling. In Superman 78, Venditti and Torres will show fans that a man can truly fly. Now, on to the topic that this is Robert Venditti's apparent dream project. There's a part of me that kind of wishes he dreamed a little bit bigger, maybe something like news stories with established characters that maybe he can raise his profile with. I don't imagine that this is going to be something that DC Comics is pushing heavily, although we are seeing a lot of older versions of these superheroes showing up, I guess, in the next Flash movie. So, heck, maybe we're going to get that Brandon Roos Superman in that Flash movie, and they'll be pushing this stuff. Obviously, these movies are going to be part of like the DC Films portfolio that's on HBO Max. So Now, these are going to be DC digital first, so they should be $1 an issue. I believe it's going to be 12 issues total, and then they're going to release them in physical. They're going to collect 2 digital comics into 1 comic book and release and sell them as physical comics starting in August. Now, the one thing that does disappoint me about this is in Superman 2, my favorite personal thing about part of the entire movie is Terrence Stamp's General Zod. I just always thought he played an incredible General Zod. He seemed so calm and collected, and he wasn't the most bulky guy, but I don't know. Terrence Stamp just has that villain voice about him. He always just seems so cold and calculating. I thought he was a perfect portrayal of General Zod is very menacing and dangerous. And that kind of contrast within the Superman the movie, the thing that I think probably threw me off even as a child. Marlon Brando continues to be a curious choice for that character as far as, obviously Marlon Brando was a brand name. He was a pretty big actor. I don't know, was he the right choice for Jor-El? It always just seemed really weird. In the movie, like the tone of itself was just a little off for me. Just, even as a kid, I grew up, I watched it again. I still didn't love it, but I still love Superman 2. So I am excited for this. I'm excited for Robert Venditti to get back in the game. Obviously, we've been waiting to hear what new projects he was going to be working on. He has mentioned in the recent past that he had received pages from 2 yet unannounced projects. This obviously would be one of them. And my assumption, I think a lot of people's assumption, is that this is Robert Venditti's dream project, especially if you follow his Twitter. He did mention that Christopher Reeve's Superman was his Superman and will always be his Superman. It's his favorite version of the character. So, when I read that tweet, I was like, okay, this is actually the dream project. So I guess there still is an outside chance that if they do launch that JSA project, that Robert Venditti could still be attached. It still kind of makes sense. Jeff Johns feels like he's moving on to other things. He's working on some projects at Image. Kind of might be out on the outs with DC. Still some things going on with Ray Fisher and Jeff Johns. Maybe they don't want to announce a new project with him right now. In my opinion, the closest thing that DC has to a Jeff Johns right now is Venditti, or maybe you could say a Peter J. Tomasi. But so he'd still be my choice if they're going to launch that series. We've been getting teased about it for 5 years now? So perhaps it will happen. The other series that's coming out, likely to be even more, get more people excited, is this Batman 89, the return of, I guess, Michael Keaton's version of Batman. Obviously, Michael Keaton was Batman in the first 2 Tim Burton Batman films, Batman and Batman Returns. Very odd movies. I remember as a child absolutely loving both of them. I was in 5th grade when Batman 89 came out, and it was a big deal. I remember being at the school lunch table, and we all had our Batman trading cards, and everyone wanted to get the best versions of the Joker cards that we could get because, obviously Jack Nicholson. Whereas Marlon Brando continues to be a curious choice as Jor-El. At the time, Jack Nicholson was considered to be an odd choice to be Joker. Turned out he took to the character like a duck to water. He was perfect. I couldn't imagine anyone else playing Joker for the longest time. Obviously, that glass ceiling has been shattered with the performance of Heath Ledger. I even appreciated what Jared Leto did with Joker, with the limited amount that he was able to do with it. Batman 89 obviously holds a very special place in my heart. It's pretty different if you're a fan of the comic books and the comic book origins and stuff like that, and you haven't watched Batman and Batman Returns from Tim Burton. It's a little different. The Penguin is the Penguin, not because he's a fat guy in a tuxedo. He's the Penguin because he was raised by penguins. And Catwoman is the Catwoman not because she's a cat burglar. It's because she fell out of a window and cats saved her. Now she has 9 lives. They do stick, a little bit closer, I guess, to Joker's origin, but Joker's origin has been so ambiguous over the times. I think maybe even some of the stuff from Batman 89 got incorporated into the comics over time. But I do say, Michael Keaton is still my favorite Batman. So he was also a curious choice at the time. He had just come off, he'd done Mr. Mom and Johnny Dangerously and the Dream Team at that point. So he was more of a comedic actor. So it was an odd choice at the time, and I thought it was great. Now, we do have designs on these characters. Oh, let me talk about the creative team. My bad. I forgot to mention these guys. Whoops. So this is going to be written by Sam Hamm, who was the co-writer of Batman and Batman Returns with Tim Burton. So they're bringing him back, and the artist from Joe Quinones. I am glad that they're bringing some of these creative people back. Obviously, he should have a good feeling about this universe. We're also basically promised that we're going to get more of the Michael Keaton-style Batman. We're actually going to see more Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. Definitely the star, like that was the big thing in Batman Returns, was her in that Catwoman outfit. Let's not get into let's not get into those memories. And then we're also going to see a lot more Billy D. Williams, Harvey Dent character. Now, there's always been rumors that Tim Burton had big plans for his third Batman movie, and I believe Two-Face and I think it was Scarecrow were going to be the two villains in that movie. Now he got taken off of Batman because they didn't like the tone of what he did with Batman. They thought it was too dark. And the second one movie is really, really dark. If you haven't watched Batman Returns, it is very dark. And they didn't think it was good for them to be selling toys and other merchandise related with it. That's why Joel Schumacher got brought in and everything became much more bright. I think some people think it's more comic booky, but it really, even at the times, it did not emulate or even look like what comic books. It was even more hokey and childlike than that. And that's why he was kind of removed, because it was too dark. So I imagine this will be a dark telling, and this is supposed to be like the third movie. That's what we're that's what they're sort of promising with this new Batman '89 series. I mean, this will also be coming out in 12 digital chapters. They're going to be collected into 6 physical comics that are going to start publishing in August, just like Superman. And they've already got it planned out where we're going to get hardcover collections coming in October for Batman and November for Superman 78. And this is the solicitation. Continuing the twisted adventures of DC's Dark Knight from Tim Burton's seminal classic Batman movies, Batman '89 brings in screenwriter Sam Hamm and artist Joe Quinones to pull on a number of threads left dangling by the prolific director. The gothic mentality behind the world, while still rooted in a sense of realism, helped inform many of DC's global fans' first impressions on the Dark Knight's Gotham. In the new Batman '89 comic, Hamm and Quinones will help usher in a return of the Selena Kyle Catwoman and will debut a new Robin. Plus, Quinones has visions for Harvey Dent Two-Face. That is as close to movie magic as you can get. Like I mentioned, we have seen some of the character designs from Joe Quinones. They don't specifically look like this Batman does not look just like Michael Keaton's Batman. He looks a little different. Harvey Bullock from the Batman movies, he almost looks like a completely different character here. Although the Commissioner Gordon looks to be like the exact same man. Now, I'll probably be a customer for Batman '89 as well, although I'm definitely more looking forward to Superman 78 because Robert Venditti is associated with it. Although, you know, just thinking about the movies, Batman '89 certainly had a much bigger impact on me as a kid. And if I had to choose between the two, I prefer Michael Keaton's Batman over Christopher Reeve's Superman. So there you can go in the comments section. Tell me I'm an idiot. Cut me down all you want, but that's just my opinion. But that is the news, folks. We finally know what Robert Venditti's dream project is. It wasn't JSA. It wasn't to be the Action Comics writer. It wasn't to create a new universe at DC Comics. It was to go back to Christopher Reeve's Superman and write Superman 78. I'm glad he's getting to do his dream project. I wish he had dreamed a little bit bigger just for me, but for him, I'm very happy, and I imagine that he is going to do a bang-up job, and this will be a lot of fun, and I think we'll all enjoy it. We also are getting a new Batman '89 comic from the co-writer of the first 2 film scripts. Those were with the Tim Burton era, named Sam Hamm. Also getting Joe Quinones on those as far as the art. We are returning Michael Keaton as the Batman. Should be fun. I guess this is going to be their version of like the third planned Tim Burton Batman movie that was scrapped because his universe was too dark and they wanted to go in a different direction. We all know how that turned out. It was another failure, and people wish that Tim Burton had stayed on the helm. So I'm hoping everyone's excited for a little bit of DC film nostalgia, and I will talk to y'all later. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.